Hi, folks. Welcome to Disability Landscape, the show that likes to show you a landscape of opportunities. Today's shows, I like to call it our music edition because we have a musical guest. But first, I want to introduce you to our co-host who has previously been on the show before as one of our musical performers. And I brought him back so he can ask the help with the questions that are related to music and that. Next to me here is Mike Tyndall. Thank you, Mike. Welcome back.
Thank you, Mark. It's great to be back.
I think it's been a few months since we've had you, and that been doing any opportunities, I should say, to do any performances or?
Absolutely. We've been quite busy doing a lot of singing around the state of Minnesota.
Oh, have you?
Also flying around doing consulting work for the company that I co-own. So
staying,
we have a company called Dream Vision where we train on access technology for the blind, and we sell Braille displays as well. So yeah.
And then musically, you sing and also play an instrument?
I do. I play keyboard and I sing with a band called the Matt Arthur Contraption, and we travel around and sing. Have a show every week in Minneapolis. So.
Oh wow, you are kept busy in that.
Yeah, quite busy.
Well, okay, let's get. I'm going to introduce you to our guest now, and Mike, you're going to handle the musical questions, hopefully.
I'll do my best.
Okay. Joining us today, he was one of our first performers we had on Disability Landscape, our music editions. Welcome back, Gabriel Rodreick, correct?
That's right.
All right,
thanks for having me.
Yep, I got the last name correct. How are things been going since? I think it's been just about
a year.
About a year when you were hearing that. How are things been going since then?
Yeah, things have been good. I've been actually up until the last few months, I've been, I would say, kind of taking a little break, a little rest period from music and creative work. But over the last few months, have picked up quite a bit. Writing music a lot more.
Okay.
I'm releasing some music this weekend. I have a show on Saturday, and then I have a few shows coming up later this summer and this fall as well. In Minneapolis and around Minnesota a little bit.
And if people want to see where you're playing, I would assume, do you have a website or something?
I do. Yeah, I have a website, just GabrielRodreick.com, and I have the listing of shows there.
Okay. Do you mostly, when you perform, are you just singing, someone else playing, or now like today, you do have a keyboard there, but normally what do you tend to do?
So normally I tend to play with other people. This is kind of a rare setup, but I do it every once in a while at shows. But most of the time I'm playing with other people. Like this Saturday I'll be playing with 2 guitarists and an upright bass player. And then I played a show last week that I was playing with drummer, bass, keyboard, guitar, and trumpet and saxophone. So I play with, my setups vary quite a bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, this is something, Mike, you can help with, because I remember, Mike, when you were here, your keyboard was bigger, longer type thing. Gabe's is a little smaller. I mean, maybe each of you can kind of, what's the difference what's the difference between the different sizes of keyboard? I mean, what's your keyboard like, Mike?
Sure. So yeah, there are differences. So a lot of people use like a full-size weighted keyboard if you want kind of more like a piano feel, which is what I like. And so, we do that. And then, Gabe, what's your keyboard like? Kind of, you want to describe it?
Yeah, it's one of the Nord Electros, and it's not a weighted keyboard. But this is actually just I'm borrowing it from a friend because I don't have my own keyboard.
Well, that's nice of your friend to let you borrow a Nord keyboard. Nord
Yeah.
keyboards are very nice.
Yep.
I've actually thought about, they're a little bit lighter than my Yamaha keyboard.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
just to ask you a few questions, if I may, about your music.
Of course.
So kind of, how long have you been playing? What got you into songwriting? Kind of, how did your career take off?
Yeah. So I have a spinal cord injury. I use a wheelchair and don't have the use of my hands. And before my injury, I played piano for about 11 years. Kind of normally with 10 fingers. And then after my injury, lost that ability, and it took me about 3 years to kind of realize, like, oh, I can sing, I can write music using computer software, Logic Pro or Ableton, and started writing music that way, and started a band called Treading North. Have since broken up, but
That's typical of bands, right? You break
yeah,
up. Yeah, but
yep.
go ahead.
But
sorry.
we actually stayed together for 5 years. It was a
Okay,
big
okay.
7-piece band, which was
Keep going. Sorry, I just had
no,
to throw,
no,
I had to
it's
throw
okay.
that in there. You know.
Of course, bands break up. That's what they do.
Yep.
Break up, change members. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, they're always changing. But yeah, so I started that band, and that was kind of my thing for a while. And then once that band broke up, I kind of broke off and started doing a lot of my own solo stuff.
Okay.
And this setup was one of the first things that I tried doing. It was my first time kind of revisiting the piano and keyboard.
Sure.
And the way that I do it, I just tuck a little pencil in my brace and one note at a time, just kind of pluck out the chords that I'm using for the songs, and just sing over it.
Well, I think it's amazing have been able to hear you play, and I think about, in your previous situation and in my situation of playing keyboard, and if something happened to me that happened, as it happened to you, right? I mean, it certainly would give me hope that I could, adapt away. And I think it's remarkable how you have, you said, I'm not going to let this disability keep me from doing the things I want to do, and you figured out a way to make that work. And I did notice today, when you're playing the keyboard, I really notice how you're playing a lot of minor keys, and I notice how with your voice you're really adapting your voice, and you're hitting all those notes sometimes even after you've played them, which is more difficult to do than if you're playing a chord, right? If you're playing a chord, it's very easy to hit those, that it's a chord, so you're hearing it. But if you're hearing 3 individual notes and then kind of getting your voice to be exactly where you want it to be in that minor key is quite the work, and I think you did it quite well.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate
Absolutely,
that.
yes.
Oh, that's something I actually I haven't really even thought about a lot. I think it's probably just I think I have a pretty extensive familiarity with theory, and
Sure.
just playing piano for 11 years of my life. I think just was kind of all ingrained in my brain.
Right.
And
I think this would be a perfect segue then,
Yeah.
for us to have, to listen to your first song. You want to just give us the title and a little bit about the first song that you did for us, or
Of course.
that you're doing. Yep.
Yeah, so the first song is called Bag Lady, and I wrote this song as a neighbor of mine was evicted from their home, and ended up sleeping out in her car on the street, and didn't really have anywhere to go, and her car was full of bags and her life, essentially. And yeah, I don't know, just
So you wrote the
came
song
about.
and it's called Bag Lady?
It's called Bag Lady. Yeah.
Okay, so let's go and hear and see Bag Lady.
bag lady sings to no one. The bag lady always knows she never loved another. Walk the streets in a polka dot gown made of cigarette burns, crumpled up sticky notes, salami sewn into her navel. She knows she's beautiful. She knows she's unusual. Yes, she knows. Yes, she knows. And she got 9 lives wrapped in a noose. She'll saddle up on a giant fig Newton and try to trace her son downtown and tell the mayor, stick your money in your mouth. She's the bag lady. She's gonna take your greed. She's the bag lady. She's gonna take your greed. The bag lady won't sit down. She's too busy dismantling crowns. She died on the cross, came back to life and said, fuck you, God. She tore down the stairway to heaven, swung out wide on hell's iron gate. She knows she's beautiful. She knows she's unusual. Yes, she knows. Yes, she knows. She got 9 lives wrapped in a noose. She'll saddle up on a giant fig Newton and try to trace her son downtown and tell the mayor, stick your money in your mouth. She's the bag lady. She's gonna take your greed. She's the bag lady. She's gonna take your greed.
No, that was great. I really enjoyed it, and you got inspired because you saw someone you were saying then.
Yeah, a neighbor of mine got evicted from her home who had been there for longer than I'd lived in my home, and it was really hard to see. She was had a lot of mental health issues, needed a lot of help, but it was I don't know, it was rough to see because I'd known her for a long time as well.
Yeah.
So if we think about the pandemic and kind of, you said for a while you've been taking a little break from music and you're getting back into it at this point. Did the pandemic kind of give you any space to write some new stuff? Did you think about writing new stuff, or how did that affect your music career?
Yeah, I wrote some new stuff here and there. I
Okay.
actually, I don't think I made as much use as I would have thought I would have.
Sure.
I think I actually found it just kind of a good time to rest and not dig into
Right.
like the work and
Sure.
the grind, because I
Right.
think before that I'd been doing a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I'd been writing a lot of music. I just came off of doing my production called A Cripple's Dance, which is a live music and live dance production. And so I think I was actually kind of exhausted, like creatively exhausted, and it was a good time for me to just kind of rest and not do as much. But that was really hard for me, because I think I am kind of a grinder. I'm kind of always making stuff and always working, but
Mine's always going on something.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think too, part of it is that when you write songs and you think about and you're creating things, I mean, your mind's always thinking and, like, what is the next thing
Yep.
I'm gonna create? This idea is great, this idea is not so good, and you always, I find myself always kind of looking for that next moment of something to, create, and for me, the pandemic, kind of all my traveling for work, traveling to play, just kind of like all, kind of stopped. And it was like, wow. And I know a lot can happen with Zoom, but it certainly isn't like getting out there and like,
Right, yeah.
just doing it.
Yep.
But yeah, so so you said that in your band, so you kind of have different setups from time to time with who you're playing with, depending on the show.
Yes. Yeah. I kind of have two main setups right now. The first
Okay.
setup being two guitars and an upright bass, kind of a more folky, bluesy setup.
Sure.
And then the second setup is full band, drums, bass, guitar, keyboard,
Okay.
and horn section. I've had up to 3 horns before.
Trumpet, sax.
Trumpet, sax, and either trombone or bari sax.
Very nice, very nice. And
Yeah.
I actually play trumpet and sax too.
Oh,
so-
you do?
Oh,
and
you?
piano. So,
Nice.
but I want to talk for a minute, if you don't mind, and I think you'll be okay with this if I ask the question. We talked earlier about your piano playing and your spinal cord injury and where you are now. Did you ever imagine not playing? Take us down a little bit of that journey of getting to where you are. How are you feeling after your spinal cord injury about music and continuing, and how was that journey for you?
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of always been a difficult journey.
Okay.
Because I actually just had my 14-year anniversary of my injury earlier this month, and really found myself missing piano this year.
Okay.
I ended up making a whole playlist with a lot of my favorite kind of piano-based songs.
Sure.
And I just really found myself missing being able to sit down and play the piano with my fingers and with my hands.
Right.
And so I'm still sort of in this process of grieving that,
Okay.
and I think I always will be.
Probably, yes.
But at the same time, recently I'll be releasing some music this weekend. I'll be releasing some more music this fall. I'm really, really proud of the music that I've made.
Absolutely.
Despite not being able to play the piano in the way that I would like to. And I've found that, this kind of perspective of despite,
Mm-hmm.
I actually find that I'm in the kind of over the years I've been trying to flip that, like this perspective of disability or limitation as a negative thing, but you know, these limitations that have been, you know, bestowed upon me have actually created this pathway towards, you know, a lot of really cool music that I've made.
Well, you know, we often talk about we make lemonade out of lemons, right? And I mean, you, as I said earlier, when I see the way that you play the piano now, right? I mean, you're still playing the piano, and I think about you know, being blind from birth. So to me, it's a thing I've always known, and I see people who lose their vision later in life, and they have, you know, they deal with that, but they do it, and you, again, as I mentioned, you know, you're certainly playing the piano and you're doing things differently than you would have done them before, but you're still doing them, and that's the important thing, is that you're doing them.
Yeah, it's an evolution.
Absolutely.
Rather than
Well,
yeah.
this has been great. I hate to cut it off, but we only have so much time in this TV magic and that. So
Absolutely.
right, Mike.
Yes, that's right.
So I'm just going to wrap it up. I want to say, Gabriel, once again, thank you for coming and performing. Mike Tyndall, thank you for making it so I didn't have to talk as much, which I love, actually.
It's always great to be here.
Yeah, so Gabe, why don't you just finish us off and tell us a little the title and just real quick about the song we're going to finish on.
Yeah, so this last song is called Broken Puppet. And it's a song that I'm still trying to figure out what it means to me, but it's about the body and kind of my life experience with disability, and yeah.
So everyone enjoy Broken Puppet. This is Mark Knutson for Disability Landscape.
There's a fire in the freezer. There's some blood on the rose. There's a broken puppet on the wall. I just saw its eyes glow. I thought it was just a limb machine that was damaged by the road. But he's awake now, and I believe he's a son no more. Broken puppet with your strings that fur, will you show me how you move on your own? Cut loose like a ladybug that's climbing out of its rabbit hole. Free falling like a corporate rogue, will you tell me how you bleed on your own? Pinocchio had it wrong. There's no such thing as real boys. We try and try and try again, but we'll never fit the molds. The illusion of our freedom rings over bodies that have coiled. They're drained of all their agency and deflated